Peace, love, and light, beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel. I'm Amina. This is a pick a card reading. If it's your first time here, please do subscribe and comment below if this reading resonates with you. If you don't know how pick a card readings work, you're pretty much going to pick, well, in this case, it's more of a pick a crystal, but you're going to pick the stones that resonate with you the most. It might be something your eye keeps going back to. Energetically, you just feel really drawn to it. This isn't about picking a stone that you like. It's not about going, oh, rose quartz is my favorite, I'm just going to pick it. No. You pick what you gravitate towards, right? Because that's going to hold some type of message for you. Now, this is a reading for the collective. This is a general reading. So you have to use your discernment. Some things in that reading may be specific for you. Some things may not. Everything may resonate with you. You can also choose more than one deck here. You're not restricted to, oh, I chose this one, I'm stuck with it. You can choose multiple if you want. You can listen through the whole reading to find out if something else also resonates with you. But make sure that you're centering in on which of these are calling towards you energetically. What does your eye keep going back to? That's the group that's going to have the most for you. We have 3 groups here. I'm also going to include timestamps in the description for you guys, so that if you chose one and you really don't care about the others, you just want to know that one, you'll be able to jump to it. As always, when we do a pick a card reading, I recommend that you take a moment. If necessary, you pause the video, collect your breath, you take a deep breath in, you hold it, breathe it out slow. Just relax your mind, relax your body, I always say relax your scalp, because you'll be shocked how many people hold tension in their scalp and forehead. You want to be able to channel in the energies very well. All right. Now that we've gotten that out the way, we're going to get into group 1. So I'm just going to slide these cards out. All right, group 1, let's see what's going on with you and your twin flame in separation. These readings are specifically for twin flame connections. Right off the bat, tarot-wise, we have 6 of Wands. 6 of Wands is victory, success, being applauded for something. As you can tell from the card here, this person's on a stage. It's like the world is their stage and people are applauding. This is like the coming home. I actually consider the 6 of Wands a coming home card in many readings. That's literally what it is. It's like taking the victory walk or the victory ride home. In a traditional deck, a lot of times it's a person on a horse, and everyone else around them has like these wands, and it's like they're all cheering them coming back home. So this is a positive sign, I would say. It's also a message card. Messages. It's Leo energy. Now, I know sometimes people don't like to be specific with zodiacs because they don't want to throw off people who aren't that sign or don't have it in their chart. But let me explain why I mention the zodiacs normally. Because even if it's not your sign, it's the energy of the reading. So for example, Leo energy in this context would be like creativity and courage, right? So that's what this incorporates. It doesn't mean that you have to be a Leo, but if you are, it's another sign, because it could be in your chart, it could be in your twin flames chart, and it's just a way to help you narrow it down. But even if it's not, and you still like, I resonate with everything that's said, or I resonate with the majority of what was said, the energy here is Leo, courage and creativity, okay? And that's the energy I get from the 6 of Wands. This will be divine masculines. We're going to get into your divine masculines energy and thoughts. My spirit is always with you. Can you feel me? Do you still love me? So divine masculines are asking if you're still in love with them in this moment during this separation. Okay, we're going to get into their I love you message. I've been dreaming about you. Okay, so if you've been feeling, I'm actually going to slide this down. If you've been feeling lately in your dreams, because sometimes people wake up and they can't remember, but their presence is around you, almost to the extent that you want to look over your shoulder, or you wake up thinking that they're right there. Sometimes you have dreams about topics or situations or places that have, like, you're like, I've never thought of this before. I've never been to this place before. Why am I dreaming about it? When divine connections are coming into union, or just in general, when people begin to awake to it, you start connecting energetically first, on a soul level first. This is why by the time you meet, the meeting is so intense, especially when you take into consideration that twin flames are your mirror. So you'll feel like you know them, right? You'll feel those reflecting energies, and it'll draw you in. And that's why sometimes in some of these unions, they can either move very fast or they can just be very intense. Twin flame unions are always intense. they're never not intense, be it for, better or worse. They're very intense typically. So when you're having those kind of thoughts, when you're having those kind of dreams, it very well could be your divine masculine. What I would recommend is, if you haven't already, get very in tune with your own energy. This can be through meditation. Well, I always recommend meditation. You want to be able to recognize your energy, your thoughts, your real core feelings, nothing that parents, society, or even this counterpart has put upon you but your own. Because what will happen is, when it's their energy, when it's their dreams coming into the equation, you can recognize it. You won't be confused. You won't wake up going, why did I dream that? You'll know where it came from. You also want to get used to separating when you feel them from other people. For many people, when it comes to twin flame unions, they can already, but some don't know. They don't know what they're feeling. They don't understand it. I would say it's similar to getting used to a person's personal scent. If you've ever been in a room where someone's wearing a certain perfume or cologne, and it's probably 1,000 other people in that room wearing the same brand, whatever that may be, but for some reason you can just tell when it's that individual's scent and aura around you. That's what it's like to sense energy. It's the same thing. It's like honing in on a specific person. You'll be shocked how very specific with this you can get. It's done every day. You're doing it every day when it comes to relatives and friends that you're very close to or you've been around for a long time. You can always kind of tell when they're near. It's the same thing, but intensify that when it comes to a twin flame union. So what I'm feeling here, your divine masculine has been dreaming about you and sending you messages in the dream. They're asking these questions in those dreams as well. So if you wake up and you feel like you had a whole conversation with the masculine, it's because in their dreams they're talking to you. They're dreaming about you. You're going to feel their energy if you haven't already. Let's get into the divine feminine in separation. Look at that. Everywhere I go, I look around as if you'll be there. Because they're dreaming of you, you're actually picking up, and they could be dreaming of you while you're wide awake. They could be knocked out and you're just outside living life, right? Doing whatever. And you start looking around because you could swear that you sense them near you. That's one of the hints that they're thinking about you heavily or they're dreaming about you. And it's so intense. And for the masculine that's watching, for the masculine energy, it's so intense when the feminine thinks about you that they're actually thinking you'll magically appear, that you'll just pop up. I feel like that fits that 6 of Wands message energy. It fits the coming, like a coming home or coming to each other or meeting in the middle. Let's get into the divine feminine's I love you message. You're mine to me. So to that question, do you still love me? Can you feel me? Well, yeah, because she's looking around. The feminine is looking around. And to the do you love me? Yeah, she says, you're mine to me. And this is a I love you message. Now we're going to get into what the divine has to say about this twin flame union. Vibrations. Energy and positivity. Raise your vibration to attract what you desire. Look at that. So the divine is pretty much saying to both of you, and I feel a little bit more to the masculine here, actually, but it's still a message for both. Take it how it resonates. The divine is saying you need to raise your vibration. So if you've been in a funk about something, negative thoughts perhaps about this union, one thing you don't want to do when it comes to a twin flame union is have constant negative thoughts about it. right? You don't want to be sitting around thinking, oh, it's never going to happen. Oh, this, oh, that, woe is me. Oh, they're with this person. Because that's a vibration. Everything that comes out of your mouth, everything that you think about, talk about is a vibration, and you will set the tone for your union when you do that. I just saw 1011, right? There's a victory coming in here. There's success coming. It sounds like the masculine wants to come to the divine feminine. The divine feminine must be open to receive that, of course. Both need to have their vibration balanced. Balance is key here. Being open and honest with each other. Keep positive thoughts about your union. And group one, I really don't feel like there's anything else left to say. The spread here, I feel like explains it all. So we're going to move on to group 2. See you next time, group 1. All right, group 2. We're going to get into your cards now. From the tarot, we have 4 of Swords, rest. I heard that very clear as day. Rest. I feel like some of the divine feminines, because this is standing out to me in the card, you have tattoos. But for some of you, I don't feel like it's a whole sleeve. I feel like it might be something on the wrist, maybe the ankles, neck area. Not ruling out those of you who have arm tats, but this is just how the energy is coming in here. This rest is speaking to the heart, the string of fate that's tied to the heart. A rest needed within this union. So this is the strong energy of this reading. This is Libra energy. And like I said in the other one, in case you didn't watch the first one, I know a lot of readers don't like being specific with zodiacs because obviously many of you drawn won't have that sign or may not have that sign in your chart. It may not be your sun sign, right? But the reason I mention is because it sets the tone for what energy is trying to come in here. 4 of Swords, that's Libra energy. So we're talking grace. We're talking balance. There's a balance that could be needed here, right? There's some grace in how the situation or whatever's going on in the union. There might be some grace that needs to be added for how it's handled. So that's the energy. However, this could also be your sign or in your partner's charts somewhere. All right, so take it how it resonates. We're going to get into the masculine's thoughts first. I didn't realize I loved you until it was too late. I'm so sorry. Fits that 4 of energy connected to the heart vibration, doesn't it? What is their I love you message? You hypnotize me with your beauty. I'm hearing 2 things with that. I'm hearing you're hypnotizing me, or you've hypnotized me with your beauty, spiritually and physically. So you're someone, regardless of what your attributes are, you're someone that they find very attractive, but what drew them to you the most was your soul energy. They're hypnotized by how beautiful you are inside and out, right? They might have taken advantage of you because of that. They might have thought, well, this person, typically when someone thinks that a person is very beautiful, they think that they're very vulnerable. And there's strength in vulnerability, but unfortunately people aren't taught that, right? So they think, well, maybe I can get over because this person has such a kind heart and such a kind soul and they're so vulnerable. Maybe I can get over with doing silly things. But at the same time, it's what drew them towards you, right? So your heart may have needed a rest from this connection, and that's why you're in separation. You might have been the person that called for it, or the divine said, you know what, you guys need a break. Y'all need to go separate ways for a minute, and a situation might have come up that forced you to have to put space between the 2 of you. Divine feminine message. I want to contact our mutual friends to ask about you. So you're wondering what's up with them, which is interesting because they have you on their mind, and it feels like they're not sure if it's too late or not. They're conflicted. Meanwhile, you want to actually have contact, but you might be holding yourself back because you know that right now both of you need the space. Both of you need to take time. What is your I love you message? I will always stay true to you. So when it's time for this union to come back in, when it's time for connection to restart, you want your divine masculine to know you will always stay true to them. And for the masculines watching, these cards here, these I love you cards, are pulled out as the core of you, what you really feel. Because the first message, it's your thoughts, but let's be realistic. Thoughts can change from 1 second to another. 1 minute you might feel really encouraged. For example, you want to contact their friends and find out what's up. Just check in on them. Just make sure they're cool, right? But then tomorrow you might be like, man, I don't care. I don't care what they're doing. I don't want to talk to them. Right? You could just throw the whole situation away. But deep down inside, the reality is you love them enough to stay true to them. So right now, during this separation, the energy I get here is the feminine is they're not entertaining anyone. They're not even trying to talk to anyone. They can't even bring themselves to try to talk to anyone. Not for a lack of people probably trying, but they're staying true to the masculine. And for the masculines, they're constantly thinking about how beautiful of a soul. Because again, this meant there was a physical attraction, but they were really drawn in by your energy, by your heart, by your mind, your intellect. So they're thinking on that very heavily right now. And they're conflicted. They don't know if they should make a move or not. Both of you truly needed time to rest, but not just because there's a feminine figure in this card. I'm feeling that the divine feminine needed the rest the most, needed the rest of heart. So whatever went on with this masculine, it definitely involved matters of heart. But as you can see, this red string of fate that's connected, the masculine still holds a connection to the heart. Let's see what the divine has to say about the situation. Pause. You see that? Inaction, calmness, setback, wait for the sign. You may resonate with one of those words. You may resonate with all of them. But this is definitely clarifying what I just said. There was a pause that needed to happen, and whether it was by your choice, divine feminine, or yours, masculine, the divine was going to intervene regardless. They were going to make sure that there was a pause here. The energies need to be balanced out. I'm not hearing or sensing that there's anything wrong with trying to come back together in this union. It just needs time to heal from whatever set it apart. I'm feeling like, again, some of these masculines took advantage of the kind heart, right? You might have not invested the time that you were supposed to because you said that person will always be there. You may have sometimes treated them, when people are mad or angry at someone else, a lot of times they have a tendency of taking it out on the person they love most because that person is sitting there, and they have this thought in their subconscious of, you love me enough to tolerate it. I'm seeing a divine masculine sort of putting the feminine down. It not in a way where, yes, it affects, again, the heart, and it affects maybe even how you feel about your physical appearance, because I'm seeing some thick figures here. But it's not what he meant. It's just in the moment he was mad at something else, or this masculine energy was mad at something else, and you just walked in the room and it was like target. And because you're such a kind heart, you didn't always say something back. I'm seeing divine feminines that would sometimes just give a blank stare and then walk out the room. But in reality, inside, it irritated you. It hurt. It was a hurtful thing. And because you kept just walking away and not saying anything, they took it as tolerance, right? But really, it was causing you pain. That's another reason for a pause. I'm also seeing a group here where the masculines, it's not that they're putting you down about features or anything. They just have these attitudes. They just snap, It doesn't seem violent, but it's just like going off over something petty. It's very petty, right? And some of you would go back and forth, but it's like, for what? Why am I wasting my energy on this? That's what I just heard. Why am I wasting my energy on this? Like, I don't have to go back and forth with you. And that was, again, this is why the break needed to happen. A lot of these masculines need self-growth. So masculines that are watching, that you need self-growth. And this is about energy. I'm seeing different types of couples here. And as I always say, divine feminine and divine masculine energy exists within all of us, right? We operate from one more than the other. And then, of course, the physical representation obviously is also there. So you may have been born a man, a masculine figure, but you operate and think more so from your divine feminine, whether you be straight or not. It's just how you are. So some of this masculine energy coming in here are within same-sex couples, and some aren't. Some are in, divine masculine figure, divine feminine figure couples as well. So I'm picking up on a little bit of everybody. But the masculine energy, you know what you identify as when it comes to that, whether you go by certain pronouns or not. You know if you feel more masculine or more feminine. The masculine energies here need self-work. They need self-healing, because I'm picking up on ones that tend to take their anger out on someone else. And there's some feminines that do it, but they're not, that's not coming in as strong as these masculines. I feel like the feminines catch themselves, because in some of these arguments, when the masculine is going off, the feminine is catching herself right before. And I tend to say he or her so that I don't get confused, right? But you know what you identify as, you know what your energy is, okay? So yes, this union needed a pause. There were some setbacks due to the vibration that was coming in here, and so a pause needed to take place in order for calmness to come in. So both parties are waiting for a sign, to be honest, because the feminine wants to call a friend, but the masculine is too busy being conflicted. So it might be masculines that you'll have to wait for a sign from the divine. It could be anything. It could be a mutual friend of y'all's coming to you without either one of you asking. I'm not going to go into too much detail with that, because I don't want you guys to get attached to an outcome of how it'll play out. But when the sign comes, you will recognize it. It'll just be up to you whether or not you make the move when you see the sign. Okay? And depending on what that is, or if it's one of you getting the urge to really contact the other, that's how the other will know what's going on. I feel like that's the end of Group 2's reading. Peace, love, and light to you, Group 2. Till next time. All right, Group 3. We finally got to you. I like to sometimes keep the stone in the reading. We're going to get into your tarot card first. This will be the main center point of your reading. We have the Six of Swords, forward motion. Okay, so your group, you're very, all the groups are different. This forward motion, it feels a little, it feels a bit stuck, like there's a need to go forward from one of you, stagnation from the other, or one of you is trying to maybe manifest something within this connection, and the other needs a little bit of a pull or a push. Push isn't the right word, but they need maybe like a sign that it's worth it, if that makes sense. That's the energy I'm getting here. Yeah, this energy is very different from the other groups. Six of Swords, that's Aquarius. Aquarius and Mercury. So social groups, and as I said before, again, in case you didn't see the other ones, sometimes people don't like mentioning zodiacs. I do, because it sets the tone for the energy of the reading. It could be in your chart, could be in your partner's chart. It could even be the season that something takes place, right? You use your discernment, but it's also the energy. So even if it's not your sign or it's not in your chart or anything, it could still be something's going to take place during that season, that Aquarius season, or it could be you need to focus on what the energy of the reading is. So that's social groups, that's a futuristic thinker, those can be traits of yours, or that can be a trait of what's happening within the reading. So it's good to point out. It helps to just, helps you guys to narrow in a bit so that you know whether or not the reading is really for you, if it's really vibing with you. But yeah, this energy is a little bit weird. Let's dive into it. So we're going to start off with the masculine. I'm coming to you with an offer. Will you say yes? When I offer you my hand, will you take it? Okay, so that forward motion, that transitioning feel from the masculine, it's coming in like I'm on my way, I'm gearing up, I have this offer. Are you going to take my hand, or can we work this out? That's like the energy here. It's like they're pumping themselves up for what needs to be done. Let's get into their I love you card. I choose you. So a choice, I'm picking up on, it didn't come out in the tarot, but I'm picking up on like a lover's card vibration, like they had to make a big choice, a big decision. For some of you, this was with another person, and third party like situation. I use third party here loosely. The reason being, normally a third party situation is like they're talking to you, and maybe they're talking to someone behind your back. You find out about it, you love them, you keep trying to hope that they change their ways, but they keep going back and forth between you and the person. It's pretty much a triangle, right? The reason most people say third party in that triangle insinuates that they're in love or have some type of love for both of you. You can be in love with one person and simply have love for another and confuse it if you're not energetically balanced. That's how you get people who go, can you be in love with two people, blah, blah, blah. In divine unions, no. You love one, but you have an attachment, you have love for the other person and something that makes you feel attached to that individual. So when it's a triangle, love is in the center of the madness, or some type of attachment in the center of the madness. But when it's a third party situation, most of the times it's somebody playing hopscotch. You're the person that they want to be with, but they don't value maybe, and it's not because of you. A lot of times it's a deep rooted issue within themselves, something that makes them afraid of commitment, etc. So they hopscotch between two people. I use that loosely here. If that's your situation, masculine watching, if that's what you were having an issue with. But it feels more like having to make a choice, not family per se, but between like a big decision in some incidences, and not putting the feminine first. Not putting the feminine first, and whatever, take that how it resonates, because it's coming in so many different ways. There's so many different energies. This is a collective reading, so take what resonates. But for those of you where it was like a choice between two lovers, it was a choice between you and another partner, they choose you. The problem is how much drama took place in the meantime and in between time. Same thing, even with that choice that doesn't feel like a person. It feels more like a decision, maybe for a move or something where it was like, if you make this decision, it plays in the favor of the relationship with the feminine. But if you make this decision, it plays in you kind of like turning your back on the feminine. So that's why some pull might be needed when it comes to the feminine energy, because the masculine is like pumping themselves up. They're ready to make this offer. They want to come. They're like, I choose you. I made the mistake of not doing it, but I choose you. But the feminine energy doesn't feel as connected with that decision, is how I'm going to say that. Let's just see. Let's hear from the feminist's mouth, right? I'm resisting my desire for you because it's too late now. We've grown apart and you've moved on. Yeah, see a move, some type of move. Again, there's a bit of some of you are actually coming in as perhaps you chose either moving, maybe a job or a career, over the relationship with this partner. And during that separation, you might have been talking to other people, and somehow the feminine found out about it, knows about it. Even though it was during the time that you guys were separated, it might have been one of those, how you just gonna start talking to somebody that fast? So it could have been within like a few months or weeks or something. And they took that very seriously. So now they have a wall up. I'm seeing a huge, giant stone wall. And I'm really not seeing any creases. Not to, we're going to dive deeper into this one because, like I said, you're a different group. I feel like you might meet. Ah! I'm getting tongue-tied. It's so, but the feminine is very much on guard. And divine feminine is watching you know if this is you. The masculine wants to come. They're ready to make this offering. But the problem is you're hurt. You're disappointed and upset. And that's just the truth of the situation. And now you don't know if you want to be that giving with your heart. You feel like it's best to just leave the situation where it is. That's what you're feeling. But that's a surface feeling. Because clearly you have a desire for this person. You just feel like if you cave into that desire, they're going to abandon you again. That's exactly what I heard. They're going to abandon me again. I just seen 3101. Okay, let's go into your love message, the core feeling. My life didn't make sense until I met you. So these feminists really trusted the masculines. There was a lot of, for lack of a better word, expectations for this union. There was a lot of expectations, a lot of we're just going to be together. This is just going to play out like a fairy tale kind of thought. And I'm not going to shade the feminine for thinking this way because the masculine sort of built that up, right? But in each of those situations, whether you had to make a choice between them and another person, in the beginning, you might have made the choice of another person. Or you made the choice that you didn't want to deal with something about the divine feminine, something that you guys could have talked, worked out. You just didn't want to deal with it. I'm feeling like the masculines abandoned the feminines first. So now the feminines are like, F you, pretty much. But that's, again, it's a surface feeling. In the core, they still love you. In the core, they still love you. They feel like life didn't make sense until you came around. But that's a lot that needs to be cleared out. Let's see what the divine message is. Deception. Mask, illusions, duplicity, look beyond the superficial. Yeah, so for the masculines that had to make choices, right? The choices you made might have been very superficial, whether it involved another person or not, right? There was a mask worn here. I feel like it was a mask on both sides, though. I feel like the masculines were wearing a mask because, again, the reasons the feminines felt this fairy tale sensation and my life didn't make sense to you come sensation was, one, it's a twin flame connection. You guys are going to feel those intensities regardless. But then it's the things you do. It's the things you say. It's how you act. It's the promises you make. And you might have kept some of them at first. So it built this trust, right? But at the same time, when things started to feel funny, when things started to feel funky, especially for those in a third party like situation, the feminists wore that mask of everything's fine. Nothing's happening. We're fine. We're good. Especially in front of other people. We're good. We're fine. But in reality, behind closed doors, you're arguing or you're bickering. If it was business related, you guys, and again, we have illusions. There was an illusion on how this was supposed to go on both sides. Masculines expected one thing, feminine expected another thing. It clashed in the middle. So Spirit is telling you, both of you need to come to terms and admit the deception that took place. On both sides. This isn't about a blame game. You don't have time to sit and say, well, he did, well, she did, well, they did. What did you do? What was your part in this? Right? Because that's going to be how the communication opens. The masculine wants to make the offer, but when you come to the feminine, can you admit what happened? Right? Can you admit you're wrong? Because if you can't, you're going to be met with strong resistance. And feminist is the same thing. You can't walk around just closed-hearted. We're about honesty around here. We're about solutions. There's no problem without a solution. But we got to be honest about it, right? Even if you were to say, this union is done, which I don't really feel is the case here. But even if you were to say that, neither one could move on and be happy until they confront the inner deception and what went wrong in this union, especially because it's a twin flame union. Now I'm going to tell you what I'm picking up on. I normally don't go this deep. This would normally be if you had a personal reading, but what I'm picking up on here, both of you could work this out, but this is going to take a while. This isn't an easy put a band-aid over it fix, because the divine feminine energy, unsure. And as long as that energy is in the unsure state, they're going to question every little thing, every single gesture, every single motion. And that will drive the masculine mad. It will make the masculine feel like, what am I even putting in the effort for? Right? So first, do the self-work. Go within, do the self-work, confront what part you played in the deception here. That's going to be important for this to be successful. Feminists, you got to do the same thing. What illusions were you believing? What duplicity, what double standard did you have? Because both of you, it feels like both of y'all had a double standard of what you thought the other person should do. We're going to go to the bottom of some of these decks. Okay, I'm only going to go to the bottom of the decks I feel drawn to. Let's go to, or the bottom and top of the deck. Sometimes I say bottom when I mean both. Okay. Top of the deck for the masculines. We were too different. That's why I'm with someone similar to me. So masculines, and this feels like a past tense because this is the top. Masculines, at some point, some of you left or you separated and you started talking to someone else, and the person you talked to was a lot like you. They had a similar personality, but you learned real quick that ain't it. That's not working for you now. But that was the energy. You might have had a fight. I'm seeing a fight between some of you, a big blow up. I feel like, this is interesting, masculines, you know your situation. I feel like some of you lied. I feel like a big fight happened. I'm seeing a fight. It's a lot of yelling. Somebody's like really red in the face. And you screamed this or something along these lines to the feminine, but it was a lie because there wasn't another person. You just really wanted to hurt them in that moment. That's a huge deception right there, to pretend like another person's involved in the situation, but they're not. Some of you, yes, there was another person, but again, it was more of like I'm attached to something with this other person. Like maybe they came around during the time of fighting with the feminine, and so they drew you in because of, people follow old patterns when they feel uncomfortable. They go into an old pattern because it's a defense mechanism, and some of these masculines did that. So the feminines were like, well, what the hell? Bottom of the deck. I'm working on myself so I can give you the love and relationship you deserve. This is where they are currently. That's why they're ready to come. That's why they choose you. They realize pretty much, excuse my French, they realize they fucked up. There's no lighter way to say that. They realize it now and they want to fix it. But masculines, again, my advice would be, my guidance on this situation would be, once you confront the inner deception, you're part of it, because then that helps you to not be judgmental towards the feminine. You would have to be willing to accept admitting to that feminine, this is what I did wrong. And you cannot have a guard up. You cannot be forceful. But you also can't be, well, I did stuff and you did stuff, because that's going to change the whole argument around it. They have to come to you and admit their flaw. You can't decide their flaw for them. You can see it, recognize it, but there can't be no tit for tat. And I feel like some of y'all in arguments, y'all did a lot of tit for tat. And that's how you got in this situation. The same advice goes towards the feminines, but masculines, because you initiated this. The argument started around a lot of what was going on with you. And instead of you just being honest and saying, look, my head is twisted right now, or, I feel like I got all these decisions and I don't know what to do. Instead of you just being real, because the feminine could understand real, either you play the game with an old, maybe an ex or someone you used to deal with. I don't even feel like it's really an ex, to be honest. It's just like just somebody, but it's an attachment. It's like it's like having the little black book. This is who I run to when stuff don't go right in a relationship or in a connection. But unfortunately, this is a twin flame connection. So the pain of running to someone else, the guilt of running to someone else is far stronger. For those of you that lied and literally screamed, that's why I'm effing such and such, because me and her are more alike and da-da-da. Yeah. See, not only you have to be honest about lying about that, but then you have to realize that that's not going to stop the feminine from feeling like you probably did something behind her back, because why else would you use that? That's how her mind is going to think. So you're really going to have to prove loyalty here. But the positive divine feminine, the masculine is working on it. They're working on it. We have top of the deck. So top of the deck for the divine feminines is a response to that first card. Would I be rejected if I contact you? Do you still want me? So in the beginning, when this fight first happened, even though the divine feminine was hurt, even though the divine feminine was confused, they still wanted to connect. And they probably felt that for a really long time. They probably held that in and battered themselves around in their mind. Why do you even want to talk to this person? Like, this person doesn't even think about you. Like, they've moved on with their life. These are just some of the thoughts they've had. They're in their own world. Why are you sitting up here stuck with them on the brain? They don't care. Why do we care? 2 seconds later, I really do want to contact or like DM, text message. I feel like some of these feminists deleted the masculine's number out of their phone, so the only way to communicate, if they didn't know the number by heart, is through like some type of DM or social media, maybe a friend. But they changed their mind 2 seconds later after the fact. Bottom of the deck, current on and off state is, it hurts to see you online that you've moved on with your life. So some of you masculines, especially, I'm actually picking up more on the ones with business. You might have been posting the success of your move or your business. And as far as to the first one, for those of you who did have someone else, you might still have pictures on your social media that you didn't delete of other people or person you were talking to. And so the divine feminine currently feels like you're still talking with those people. You're still dealing with that, or, oh, you're so happy with this life that you have now. And it hurts because in reality, they want to be with you, but they don't trust you. And they really do feel, there's a part of them that feels like this isn't working, like this isn't going to work. Like I might have lost this person. And they're trying to make themselves accept that. So again, masculines, you're going to have to be prepared. Really prepared. Yep. Top of the deck from the divine. Hesitation. Past heartbreak. Broken trust. Afraid to move forward. What card do we have here? This is how they feel, right? Masculine's top of the deck, home, cozy, warm, secure. You feel at home with each other. Masculines miss home. Divine feminines, you are their home. So while you're in hesitation, they choose you and they want to come home. And specifically, they view you as home. It's not about the place. They could live anywhere with you in the world, anywhere with you in any other dimension. At the end of the day, you are home. They want you. This is a soulmate connection. Compatibility, companionship, your best life partner. You guys are going through some hell right now, but this is a connection. This is a deep connection, which explains why the pain of it is so rich. You're the only deck, you're the only group that I had to go to the top and bottom of the decks for. Mirroring. Reflection, twin flames. I said this is a twin flame reading. You got the soulmate card and a card that represents twin flame. Wholeness, synchronicities. Right now, you guys are kind of mirroring each other in a sense. Even though there's two strong different emotions on how to go about the relationships, you do mirror each other in the context that the depression that the feminine is feeling, very similar to the depression that the masculine felt at some point. Right? The success and the want to be pumped up and the need to come forward that the masculine is feeling, the feminine at some point can also feel. Probably felt way back when. I'm seeing 444. 44-4. Yeah, this connection can be healed, but you got to be willing to put in the work. So if you chose this stone, and it's so interesting to me because this is a rose quartz. And it's like, I don't know what it is about rose quartz, but I don't always get what I would think is going to come from the rose quartz connection. I'm actually going to go ahead and tap out of this energy right now because it feels like it's getting just a little bit too personal. And again, it's a general reading for a collective. So for some of you, all of this may resonate. Only one or two things may resonate. I don't want any other energies to try to like enter in here. So I'm going to end this reading here. Thank you guys for watching. Comment below if this reading resonates with you. If you feel like you need a soul guidance session as a couple. I haven't even thought of doing that. Like, I might have to add that because I feel like this connection would need a little bit of guidance here, a little bit of soul guidance, maybe even counseling, for this type of connection. But if you need a soul guidance counseling, either individually or as a couple, I offer individually at the moment because this is a lot. But do take to heart what I was suggesting, what Spirit is also suggesting here. Really go within, admit your parts in this so that this union can be healed. And if you have to, and I say this very lightly, very cautiously, very lightly, if you have to move on from this connection, which again, lightly, it doesn't feel like that's the case for the majority of you, then you don't want to take the damage of this situation into another. But we do have soulmate twin flame here. Just because someone's your soulmate or your twin flame, it doesn't mean that you tolerate being treated any old kind of way, right? People have to earn the respect and the love again. Should it be worth it, you will do that. All right. Peace, love, and light. Blessings over your union. Blessings that you will reconnect, come together in prosperity. Until next time. Okay, group 3. Like I said, that was a really intense group. The energies were coming in all kinds of crazy. So I wrapped up the live, and as soon as I was done wrapping up the live, this deck here called out. And I'm like, oh, now you want to call out. But these are the top and bottom of the deck cards. I feel like it summarizes for both of you, the masculine and the feminine. I love you so much. I miss you for better or worse. There's no turning back now. You're my final destination. That's a positive. Remember, I said that union felt like there's a chance to save it there. It's just going to take a lot of work and a lot of honesty. So let this message resonate with you. If it's for if you know your situation, you know how much you resonated with that third reading or not. This is a huge positive sign, I feel, but it's still indicating a lot of work. With that being said, peace, love, and light. Blessings to you. Ciao.